Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this video, we shall first of all take a review of what we have done so far in this course, right? So first of all, we have studied about operators. We saw how we can relate the operators to the normal functions that we use in real analysis. Then after studying about operators, we have classified and we have also reviewed various results on basic results on operators. We studied about linear operators. We studied about the eigenvalue theory corresponding to operators by relating operators to the matrices. So basically, we have related matrices and operators together, because whenever we talk about linear operator, that could always be associated with a matrix, and we know there is a well-known theory which is the eigenvalue theory, which is available for every kind of matrices. So again, we have already seen that this eigenvalue theory, this could be related to the norm theory for normed spaces, which is finite dimensional. That means the dimension of that normed space is finite. If that is so, then the eigenvalue theory is nothing but it is the spectral theory only. So you see, the spectral theory has a particular kind whenever we have a finite dimensional normed space, and that is the eigenvalue theory. Okay, so next we have also generalized the results for nonlinear operators or the operators in general. So for that we have studied various terms. One is the spectrum set, one is the resolvent set, then we have also seen the resolvent operator and so on. So we have defined various terms so far in this course, right? Next, after having understood what is spectrum and what is resolvent, we have studied spectral theory for bounded linear operators. We saw the spectral mapping theorem. What was this theorem? According to this theorem, suppose we have some polynomial which is the polynomial in terms of operator. Polynomial as an operator. So that polynomial is defined in terms of operator, so that in that case the spectrum defined for this polynomial would be equal to the polynomial taken over the spectrum of T. So this is the result of this spectral mapping theorem. Then after that we also studied about spectral radius. So what was that? If you recall, if we take a ball centered at origin, and if we take the supremum of all this such that all the spectral value lie within this ball, then that radius is known as the spectral radius. Why? Because all the spectral values corresponding to a particular operator, they are lying inside this particular ball, right? Then we have also studied about Banach algebra, and we saw different spectral properties of these Banach algebras. This we have already covered. Next, the next branch of the subject include compact linear operator. Now we have already studied what is the definition, how we can relate the operator to be a compact operator. We also have a compactness criteria which is defined in terms of subsequences, right? And then we have defined this concept for total boundedness, and we also saw the compactness for adjoint operator, right, which is basically a kind of inverse operator only, adjoint operator. So we have studied all these things so far in this course. Now the next thing that we shall be covering is the spectral properties for these compact linear operators. So in the upcoming videos, we shall be looking at certain results which I am briefing to you right now in this video. So the first result that we will be going to study later in the videos would be eigenvalues of the compact linear operator. So we'll be covering result on eigenvalues of compact linear operators. Then there's a result on composition of compact linear operator with a bounded operator. So we'll see what happens when we compose a compact linear operator with a bounded operator. Is it also compact, or what other condition do we require in order for this operator to be compact? So things like that. The next and then next we'll be studying about null space of a compact linear operator. So accordingly, there is a result which says that null space for any compact linear operator is always finite dimensional. So before studying this concept, you should know what is a null space. So let me tell you in brief what is a null space. If you remember, for the simple functions or in vector spaces, what is the null space? Suppose we have a vector space from x to y, right? And represented by this v, then how do we define null space? We will say v of x, it should be equal to 0. So all those x belonging to capital X, such that this thing happens for every for the 0 lying in this y, then we say that that the set or the space consisting of all those x would be the null space. So in this case, the similar happens for a compact linear operator. Suppose we have a compact linear operator from x to y represented by t. So if we take t of x and it comes out to be 0 for every x, not for every x, for all the x's which are there in x. So all those x would come into another set or another space, namely the null space. So this would be the null space, right? So that is very simple. So according to the result, they would say compact linear operator has a null space which is finite dimensional. So this is another result. The proof for this result we shall see in the upcoming videos. The next result is based on the range space. So what is the range space of any compact linear operator? So again, if we have t from x to y, so whatever is tx for all the x's belonging to capital X, so whatever is tx, that would be a part of the range space. So according to this result, they say the range space of a compact linear operator, that is a closed space. This is a important result. Now next, what they are doing is they are constructing various null spaces and various range spaces, and they are creating a relationship between those null spaces and those range spaces. So the next result, it says about null spaces. They say if we have one compact linear operator defined on some normed space capital X, then there would be some smallest integer r which would depend upon lambda. Obviously, what is lambda? Lambda is given to be the eigenvalue, right? So it would depend upon lambda such that whenever the index n is equal to r or it is greater than r, then the null spaces would all be equal, otherwise they would be contained in each other. So now, in order to understand this result, first of all you should know what is n of t lambda 0, what is n of t lambda 1, you can say what is n of t lambda 2, and so on up to n of t lambda r. So if you remember, if we have t as some operator from x to x, so what would be t lambda? This would be operator defined like this, t minus lambda I, where what is lambda? Lambda was the corresponding spectral value, right? Sorry, it was the corresponding resolvent value, right? So here, this would be your t lambda. What would be t lambda 0? It would it would be nothing but the identity operator only. What would be t lambda 2? That would be t lambda multiplied by t lambda, and we define these t lambdas. T lambda r, it would be t lambda, the operator t lambda multiplied with operator t lambda. It is not multiplication, it is the composition of two operators, right? And so on up to t lambda, how many times? R times in total, right? So these are the operators t lambda 0, t lambda 1, t lambda 2, and up to t lambda raised to power r, and n of t lambda 0, that is the null space for the identity operator only, t lambda 0. N of t lambda 1 is the null space for t lambda 1, and so on. So the relationship between all of these null spaces is that they are contained within each other, and up to a place where we have the index R, and above that index R, all other null spaces, they are equal to each other, and that would be equal to this last sub null space, right? So this is the result. In a similar manner, we have a result for the range spaces as well. So what would be the range space? Again, we can define T lambda 0. So the range space for this T lambda 0, that would be just applying this operator T lambda 0 onto all the elements for the space X. So this would just form the range space for T lambda 0. Again, the range space for the operator T lambda 1, it would be T lambda 1 when it is applied onto all the elements of X. And again, T lambda 2, so that would nothing be but, so it would be T lambda composition with T lambda defined onto whole of the space X. And we can keep doing this until we reach the last space T lambda X. What is that? This is the range space for the operator T lambda Q, and you already know what is T lambda Q. This is T lambda composition with T lambda composition with T lambda up to the composition with T lambda how many times? In total Q times, right? And whole of this thing is defined onto whole of the space X. So according to this result, they say whenever lambda is not equal to 0, then there would again exist the smallest integer Q, which would depend upon lambda, such that whenever we have the index n equal to Q, from that index onwards, all the ranges would be equal, and otherwise they would be contained in this range space T lambda not of X. So now notice that this is the smallest null space and this is the largest range space. So you see there's a difference of containment here, and after this thing, all the range spaces, they are equal to each other. So combining the results of these two, we would now next have the last theorem, which would state the result that we have that T from X to X be a compact linear operator on a normed space X where lambda is not equal to 0, then we have n equal to R such that both of these things happen simultaneously, that after this index all the null spaces and all the range spaces are equal, and moreover we have containment of the null spaces up to this index R, and we have this containment up to the index R. So from these previous two results, this Q and this R, they are exactly the same quantities. So this is the result which is stated by this last theorem. So all of these results would be covered in the upcoming videos, and we will see in detail the proof for all these results. So why we should wait? Let us go and start by looking at the proofs for these results. So well, that is it for this video. I'll see you in the next videos. Thank you for watching.